Welcome to another I Like Pingas interview. Today we are with one of our favorite new performers in the gay adult entertainment industry, Sonny Boy. How are you, Sonny?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Now, how would you introduce yourself to your audience?
My name is Sonny. I am 32. I obviously do OnlyFans work. I'm also an escort, and just follow me to find out.
You are an 8 years experienced veteran, correct?
Yep. Yes, 8 years.
Thank you for the service. Can you tell us a little bit why you? I guess how old were you when you get into the army?
I was about 19 when I joined.
You were fresh after high school.
I did a couple semesters in college, but shortly thereafter, yeah, pretty much joined right after high school.
Okay, and what, you have an attack of patriotism suddenly?
No, nothing like that. I just was living in Louisiana at the time. My mom had just moved there. So Louisiana just I didn't blend well with that, and I needed a way out. I wanted a way out that was smart, so I chose the army.
Okay, and you were actually sent to the battlefield?
Yep, I went to Afghanistan in 2010. I was there for 10 months. 2012, I was there for 10 months. And yeah, Afghanistan.
Were you sexually active?
I actually had sex in a porta potty one time. I had sex in a porta potty, which is like a giant outside bathroom for those of you who don't know. But it's plastic and but yes, I've had sex in Afghanistan.
Why you decided to quit?
I wanted to challenge myself in different ways. So I was stationed in North Carolina at the time. I moved to Vegas and then continued on as a reservist, where you just go in a few times a month to post every day. And I did that for 4 more years. So, but yeah, I wanted to challenge myself by being, a student or working at a mall or just having a normal job besides the military,
A normal job. So
Yeah.
you decided to start doing what?
Escorting on OnlyFans, which, Adam and Eve, what's more normal than sex? What's more normal than intimacy with somebody else, I think.
You're correct. But you said that you decided to do escorting and OnlyFans. Both things together, you decided?
No, I started escorting first, and then I moved into OnlyFans much later.
Okay. You started your OnlyFans before the pandemic?
I actually started my OnlyFans either shortly after or during the pandemic.
During the pandemic, yeah. That is when most people started their OnlyFans.
Right.
How do you have any friends who mentor you into the sex work life? How did you learn about it?
I met this guy who we just hit it off really well. I'm not even sure how maybe Grindr. And after building a relationship with him, he got into wanting to give me gifts or wanting to pay my rent or something crazy, and I was going to turn that down. So he started paying my rent, and I was maybe for 12 months, or maybe 11 to 12 months. And then just, every now and then I'd have guys offer to pay me for this or pay me for that. But I don't know, transition seems so natural and smooth that I think I'm trying to think when there was a moment that defined it, but I kind of feel like I've always been doing it, as if that makes sense.
You started like a sugar baby first,
Basically,
and then you transition into escorting. Interesting.
No.
And while you had this sugar daddy that would pay your rent, you will also entertain other clients?
Not so much, but living in Vegas, I think maybe it's more frequent or more common, but I had a couple guys that were I was seeing pretty consistently. I still worked, but that, just, oh, here's $300 or here, let me pay your phone bill, or and yeah, I was fortunate to have those men in my life, but
And for how many years you stay in Las Vegas doing this?
I was in Vegas for 5 years. 5 years. So I did that maybe for the first about 2 years. I had those relationships built. And then I met my then husband. And yeah. So those relationships kind of fell off after that.
So you were escorting while you were with your husband? When you were married?
I stopped when we got married.
And what were you doing for a living?
Bartending. I was bartending.
Okay.
I worked at Piran nightclub, which is the major gay nightclub in Vegas. And I started working at straight nightclubs.
So you were still an adult entertainer without getting into the the sack.
There you go.
Okay, so you say you were married when you were in Vegas. You were, so that means that you are not married anymore. When that finished, you left Vegas?
Correct. I left Vegas and moved to Seattle.
Oh, you moved to Seattle, not to DC first. And how long you were in Seattle?
I was in Seattle for 3 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You ever been?
No.
You'd love it. It's beautiful. Yeah, it's nice.
I've heard wonderful things, but I don't know, I've never been over there. And do you have also sugar daddies in Seattle, or you just have regular, escorting contracts?
In Seattle, I just had regular escorting contacts that I saw pretty consistently. I worked at a hospital my first year there, but then after that, I just started escorting full time. I was doing that now for 2 years.
And you were also working in the circuit bars, bartending.
There, I was actually working at a hospital, but
okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm all over the place, man. I'm telling you.
Okay.
But yeah, was working at the hospital.
And 3 years in Seattle, and from Seattle,
DC.
Why from one coast to the other? That is a huge jump.
I know. I have more friends, I think, on the East Coast. People that I went to the military, that I was in the military with. One of my closest friends actually lives in Charlottesville, Virginia. So DC was kind of a way to be closer to them and just experience a different side of the U.S. You know.
And when you were living in Vegas or you were living in Seattle, you were servicing only those markets as an escort, or you would also tour the country?
While in Seattle, I never toured. Since I've been in DC, I've toured. I think in DC, it's definitely become more of my like centerfold. Like this is my income source. So I've been traveling more for it, seeing clients consistently, and my rhythm is DC's been a really good city for me.
DC what?
It's been a really good city for me. It's like great work here.
Okay, so if we are going to compare the DC sex work market against the Vegas and against Seattle,
okay,
what things that comparison would bring to you?
Vegas, it's much cheaper because there's so many more guys out there, I think, willing to just do it for less, that it makes the market really hard to work in. I mean, I didn't work into it, it's like heads on, but that's my perception of it. Seattle was good. I had regulars in Seattle, so I didn't have to really like look for new clients. I had 5 regulars who I saw on a, like, if not weekly, then like 2-week, bi-weekly basis. And they were great, but DC hands down is probably the best city I think I've worked in. I have regulars. Nobody argues my pay here, my rate. They just are willing to pay it. And I hate being like, trying to, what's the word?
Bargaining?
Like, yeah, like back at like lower, I'm saying, just, if you don't want to pay it, it's fine. Just don't haggle me about it. You know what I'm saying? Try to finesse me about it. So DC's been a great city. So DC probably be number 1.
Is there a connection between your work as an escort and your work as an adult entertainment, as a porn performer?
Besides like what they involve, no. To be honest, they're super separate. I think I love escorting more. I love connecting with my clients and having that relationship with my, that to me is what I like about escorting the most. I get to meet guys I think would ever get to meet otherwise, you know what I'm saying? And to connect on something like sex to me is really cool. OnlyFans was much harder for me to get into, dedicate myself to, still. And filming myself have sex is still kind of odd to me, but it's I love doing it, so.
So you do enjoy escorting. It's not something, because when you talk to some escorts, they also enjoy escorting, but they many times talk about it like, it's a transitional. No. I saving money because I want to buy this, because I want to study this, but very few say, I do like this.
Mm-hmm.
You are one of the ones that you do like escorting.
Yes. If it had a 401k plan, I would be signed up for life. I love escorting, connecting with people. Some of my best friends that I've had and some of the best relationships I've been able to build have been because of escorting. They were clients at one point, and just I learned just as much from my clients as I think they pick up from me. And I think they're relationships that I really hold in high regard. So I love my escorting.
Okay. you don't think that it helped your career as an escort, your career as an OnlyFans? You know that can be advertisement.
OnlyFans has definitely benefited my escorting. I have more clients from out of the country and like just from all over the U.S. hitting me up, and it's definitely benefited for sure.
Have you ever been flown anywhere?
A couple places, yeah.
Okay.
A couple places.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had experience as a sex worker from the 1 hour client to the traveling multiple days client.
Right, yes.
Okay. Observing the progression of your career, it looks like the big jump in your career as an adult entertainment was your first collaboration with Raheem when you traveled to Los Angeles.
Correct.
Correct?
Correct.
Okay. And did you reach out to Raheem? Did he reach out to you? How was the contact?
He reached out to me and had asked me about filming. Previous to that, I had filmed with this guy named Ty Santana, who's based out of Philadelphia. And he's the one who does like the blowjob videos in the car. I don't know if you're familiar, but actually after doing that video with him is when I went from like 0 to like 100,000 followers. He really blew me up. And then from there, I was able to build and gain just from like solo work or the inconsistent posts that I was posting, still, get some attention. And then after that is when Raheem messaged me. But working with him, doing that first really kind of polished video is where I really just peaked as far as like the amount of followers that I had just complete.
So you do not have a representative. How did you make contact with, you have worked for Hot House and for Naked Sword probably throughout Raheem. Yeah. But Hot House?
So correction. By representative, I'm sorry, I misunderstood that. I do have representation. I'm with the agency. They're based out of Florida. That's a huge. They're based out of Florida. It's called Fab Scout. I don't know if you're familiar. This guy named Harold runs it. But I've been with them for about a year, and through them is how I was able to get into my studio work.
Okay, so this agency is the one getting you the studio work. How was your recent experience in Brazil?
It was amazing. It was my first time in Brazil, which is beautiful. But I got to build community with guys who had similar interests or like jobs. I got to meet a lot of guys who had been following and seeing for so long, like beating off to their videos and stuff, and finally meeting them was cool. And any opportunity I got to work with Raheem has always been really positive. And not affirmation that I'm on the right path, there's affirmation that there's a community of people out there similar to me, and we can go create some really beautiful stuff and travel the world while we do it, So it was a great opportunity. The best, probably, one of the best.
But do you have long-term plans to collaborate with Voyar?
If they'll have me. But honestly, I like the idea of kind of doing material with different studios and not kind of repeating or being exclusive to one person or studio, Mm-hmm. I like a little variety, maybe. Ideally.
Is there any scene for studios that is coming? Any projects?
I think all my studio scenes have finally come out. The hottest one, my last one was the South Africa trip that I took for Naked Sword. And upcoming.
Were you the only black guy in that
right.
Naked Sword movie?
Right, in South Africa. Oh my God, yes. I was the only black person. To be honest, I feel like I consider myself a very safe black person. Like I'm light skinned. I think like it was very odd that was the route they chose. But I'm not the one who cast that, so.
Okay, and do you have any plans?
I have some travel coming up for work and
for adult entertainment work.
Escorting, yeah.
Oh, escorting. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Just some upcoming escorting travel in January, but other than that,
you are still living in DC.
Mm-hmm.
So you are here available for the horny clients in DC.
Yes.
Would you share what is your fee?
So my fee is $400. My overnight's $1,000.
Okay.
And then if you do multiple days, depending on how many days, I've been on cruises with clients before. I've gone on like week vacations. Usually it's around $3,000. But $3,000.
Okay. So if there is anything else that you can share with the audience, Sonny.
Thank you for following my content and the work that I do. Thank you for the grace that you guys provide me. That a lot of stuff that I should be more consistent of, but I love filming and I love that I'm able to share what I do and the connections that I get to make with people through videos, and I appreciate that support. But no, I'm good.
Thank you for coming to the interview. You are one of the, I think you're going to be one of the big names in porn, not in porn, in adult entertainment in the next few years.
Yeah, thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. What's up, so?
Gracias, Sonny.
Gracias. Thank you so much.